Anyway, I'm going to give the carnival a bit of a miss today. I've just done some work for my agent employer. Not joking, I'm going overseas. I've just had enough of this country. Someone said to me yesterday, "Well, if you're in your country, you stay and fight for it." Absolutely, but sometimes if you get a better offer overseas, you go. I'm not going to the most easiest place to go. It's going to be an interesting challenge, but I like that. And the thing is, if you want to actually make someone depressed, you start doing some of the things that this communist state has done. And yes, I'm talking like my mortal enemy Tenconi. So let's go over what happened at the park yesterday. Quite a lot. It was quite boring until someone once again attacked the stall that displays the Israel flag. I mean, honestly, the anger, the hatred, the anti-Semitism, the disrespect was unbelievable. I mean, I sort of had my phone handheld yesterday. I had my, I didn't want to lose my phone. There was something else I had in my hand as well. I just didn't want to lose it. I didn't want to. I wanted to apprehend the person, and actually, had I had my camera stand where I wasn't holding my phone, I probably would have grabbed hold of them. But then I asked the police, well, had that happened, would I have got into trouble? I mean, it seems that we once again have two-tier policing. The poor gentleman whose sign had been ripped almost got arrested. There was a confrontation. You can watch this on multiple channels. It was on mine. And then you had the usual argy-bargy between the Islamists and the Bobites. Now it seems that Thomas, or aka Young Bob, was the leader of the pack yesterday. I had some conversations with him which were quite interesting. He is actually talking to me at the moment, and he seems to want to address the issue that I've accused him of hanging out with fascists. Well, he is hanging out with fascists. That's just the way it is. And he's got quite a good head knowledge. He then repeated stuff about Hitler, and the fact that Hitler said Islam was good, and it was in the conversation. You can find it on the stream. May go through the transcript. I'm not sure, but fascism is not as easy to define as communism. In fact, there's various strands of communism. Are you a global communism? Are you a Trotskyite? I mean, it really just depends on your view of communism. But the thing is, as is apparent in the media, the country is now lurching to extremes. You've got the extreme left have turned up with the, they think anyone can just come over on a boat. And then you've got, I've been to one of these hotel thingies now, and I wasn't particularly impressed by the very few people who were there, because they were so suspicious and aggressive that made me wonder whether to go again. I mean, obviously, my position on this is a semi-neutral channel, but my position on the boats is simple: is that we should be checking who these people are, where they've come from. We need to do their background checks. You really do need to know about someone if they've come from somewhere like Syria or Afghanistan, which, of course, they're lovely people. They've just got some very interesting governments. And so the thing about cultural relativism is that, sometimes cultures work together and sometimes they don't. So, yes, it is a national issue now because the national newspapers are there. How this pans out is going to be important. So what else happened at the park? Yeah, Thomas gave a reasonable defence that he wasn't a fascist, and then brought up the issue of why his friend Nick Tenconi, who he's probably staying with or something like that, uses hired thugs as a supposedly Christian event. I have a bit of a problem with that one. And he said that they're allowed to use reasonable force. No, they're not allowed just to go after you when you are actually just backing away and then push. I mean, I saw the push coming. It's on camera. And then I said, well, that happened now several weeks ago. I said, so far I have held off reporting it to the police. And he said, well, go and report it to the police. Well, I will. No one likes a grass, but I'm actually going to report this one to the police. I'm also well aware that there was a second incident that was also pretty unsavoury. Now, my problem with Bob and the young Bob and all the crew like David is that, yes, they can be assertive on some issues. I think what they have done in exposing Muhammad Hijab is interesting work. It's all interesting. Is good, but the trouble is when they then don't behave like Christians, it's a bit of a worry. Yes, you've got to go, and Bob talks a lot about backing up his Christian brothers. Well, making sure that the stall, which just has the guts to its display the Israeli flag, is not constantly attacked is one thing. And I think it's sort of got to those people who've carefully done displays. They don't want their displays getting ripped up, vandalised, things like that. And I actually did notice a couple of the Islamists go over and say to the Arab crew that went and started chanting quite aggressively and rudely, did say that it doesn't look good. So fair enough. But what's the final thing? I mean, then you have young Bob Thomas sitting down on a prayer mat. Now, that's a whole conversation, I suppose. I mean, I don't take a necessarily view on that. I missed it. It's not on my channel. It's on other channels. And then you got two people escorted away from the park. I think this is the last year of Speaker's Corner. Remember, it goes back to Victorian times and before, I think. It's a real shame. It used to be a place where people used to be able to calmly talk about their differences, talk about, how things were. Keynes went down there. Marx went down there. Loads of people have been there and been able to have respectful conversations. It's ceased to be a place long ago. And I actually do agree with Bob that, yes, I think it is the Islamists who've really caused most of the problems down there. But in terms of intelligent debate, it's not so great. So yeah, that's what happened yesterday. Some of it is on my channel. The incident with the sign will be on there, but I was hand-holding my device, so I probably put it in my pocket. I don't know, I can't remember. I thought the police were pretty disgraceful. I told the police a long time before it happened. I said, look, they are targeting this stall, sitting around chatting about, whatever you're talking about is not as important as actually having a police presence in stopping violence, which then ensued. I think that when the police are withdrawn from the parks, thanks to good old Sadiq Khan, it's just going to go to custard, the whole thing. And then I think that the next thing they'll do is they'll say, oh no, we cannot have this, we'll close the park after dark. I mean, I think this is the sort of thing that could start to happen, even though there are portable floodlights for use in the park. I think that there's going to be something. I think there's going to be a fatality down that park one day. It really is bad. But anyway, that was what happened at the park. I'm going to do a separate video on what I think is going to happen on the 13th of September.